Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the new episode of the Viking.TV. My name is Grand Bazaar. I'm a professional tour guide and I have been guiding here in Istanbul for the last 20 years. Today I would like to give you some brief information about my beautiful city and its history. Dear all, Istanbul is the biggest city of Turkey and the population in here is about 16 million. We know that Istanbul also was the capital city of three big empires in the history. We know he was the capital city of the Roman Empire, Eastern Roman Empire and Ottoman Empire. And the question comes, why Istanbul is the biggest city of Turkey today and why it was used as a capital by three big empires in the history? The answer is so easy, it's all about the location. We know that Istanbul is located on the both sides of the Bosphorus. Bosphorus is the natural water strait that separates Europe from Asia. And 60% of the city is on Europe and 40% of the city is on Asia. As Istanbul is laid on the both sides of the Bosphorus, it is the only city in the world located in two different continents at the same time. Napoleon Bonaparte, he had a quotation and he told that if the whole world was a single state, Istanbul would be its capital. Grand Bazaar is the biggest and the oldest shopping mall known in the world. It was built up in the year of 1461. Imagine that, 31 years before the discovery of the American continent by Columbus, Grand Bazaar was opened. When it was opened, 75% of the world's jewelry used to be traded in here. Today, it is not the jewelry capital of the world anymore, but still it is considered as the jewelry capital of Turkey, and it is still the world's capital of Oriental handmade carpets. Grand Bazaar has got 4,000 shops in its small alleys, and it is such a place where you can feel the hustle and the bustle of the city. Ladies and gentlemen, right behind me we have one of the authentic bazaars of Istanbul, Spice Bazaar. It was built up in the year of 1664. It is not as big as the Grand Bazaar. It has only two streets inside of it with about 90 shops. And majority of the shops here in the Spice Bazaar sells different types of spices, herbal teas, essential oils, more and more. Ottoman Empire was described as a superpower of this era. In the territories of the Ottoman Empire, there are today 42 different states and countries. They controlled such a big geography, starting from Balkans all the way down to the Arabic Peninsula. Northern Africa, Mediterranean and the Black Sea were the part of the Ottoman Empire once upon a time. We know they controlled such a big empire right through from here, from the Topkapi Palace. And the palace has got four main courtyards. And we know that each courtyard of the palace were separated from each other with the defensive gates, like the one behind me. And the name of the gate over here is called the Gate of Salutation. And after this gate, we have the exhibitions of the Topkapi Palace Museum today. And the Topkapi Palace was used by the Ottomans from the beginning of the 1460s all the way down to the mid-19th century. Topkapi Palace was the first residence of the Ottoman Sultans here in Istanbul. Ottomans conquered Constantinople in the year of 1453. Then he became the capital city of the Ottoman Empire. And to build up the palace, Ottomans first built up the fortification walls around it. So when the fortifications were built up, the church right behind me stayed in the boundary of the palace. It is called Hagia Irene. In the Old Greek language, Hagia means divine and the Irene means peace. So that was the Church of the Divine Peace. And we know that church right behind me was used as an arsenal by the soldiers who were based in the first courtyard of the Topkapi Palace. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are in the courtyard of the Blue Mosque. Blue Mosque is one of the most decorative mosques commissioned by the Ottomans in the 17th century in terms of tiles, chandeliers, carpets, stained glass windows, wall paintings and the calligraphies. And we know that the construction of the Blue Mosque took 7 years. It was built between the years of 1609 and 1616. And when it was built up, the beautiful blue colored tiles impressed the visitors of it. So that's the reason the visitors who've been in the Blue Mosque started to call here blue. And the name was derived from the beautiful blue colored imperial tiles. But on the other hand, the Turkish people never ever call here Blue Mosque. We call here the Mosque of Sultan Ahmet, as it was commissioned by the Ottoman Sultan Ahmet I. 95% of the 16 million population of Istanbul are Muslim. So as a result of that, there are about 3,000 mosques throughout the city. And 750 of those mosques were commissioned by the Ottomans. And the mosque that we are in right now is called Rüstem Pasha Mosque. It was built up in the year of 1564. Rüstem Pasha was the son-in-law of Sultan Süleyman the Magnificent, who was considered as the greatest Sultan of the Ottoman Empire. As he was the member of the Ottoman dynasty, Rüstem Pasha was able to decorate his mosque with the beautiful imperial blue-colored tiles. Right behind me, you are going to see one of the iconic structures of Istanbul. It is Hagia Sophia. Hagia Sophia was the greatest cathedral of the Christian faith back in the medieval time. And right after the fall of Constantinople in the year of 1453, it was converted into a mosque. So the minarets that you are going to see outside of it were added later on by the Ottomans. But when we come to in the early years of the Republic of Turkey in 1930s, it was converted into a museum. And we know that in the year of 2020, it was reconverted back to a mosque again. And it is still being used as a mosque. But on the other hand, we know that if Hagia Sophia was a church today, that would be the fourth biggest church in the world after St. Peter's in Rome, St. Paul's in London, and Duomo's in Milan. But the first three churches that I just listed were built up more than 1,000 years later than Hagia Sophia. Today, it's such a building where you can see Islamic and the Christian icons side by side. Today's Hagia Sophia is the third church built on the same spot today. We know that the first church in here was commissioned by the Emperor Constantine, but the first church was burnt down. And after that, in the year of 415, at the time of Emperor Theodosius, they built up another church on the ruins of the burnt down church, and we name it Second Hagia Sophia. But also the Second Hagia Sophia was burnt down too during an uprising here in the city called Nike Revolt. And when it was totally burned down in the year of 532, Emperor Justinian ordered his architects to build another church on the ruins of the burned down church. So we know that today's Hagia Sophia was built between the years of 532 and 537. So within 5 years, with about 10,000 workers, they built the greatest cathedral of the Christian faith. And Hagia means divine and the Sophia means wisdom. So they named that church the Church of the Divine Wisdom. And also, in the year of 1930s, archaeologists carried out few excavations in the courtyard of the Hagia Sophia. So when they dug the area right behind me, they discovered the ruins of the second church, or the burnt down church, which was commissioned by Emperor Theodosius.
Discover Adriatic and Aegean treasures on this intriguing journey that combines our Venice, the Adriatic and Greece, and ancient Mediterranean treasures itineraries. What better place to begin this historic voyage than in magical Venice? 2 days in this enchanting city give you just the time you need to see all the palazzi, cathedrals, and museums. In Split, Croatia, you can explore the cobblestone streets of the Old Town, or visit the palace of Roman Emperor Diocletian, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The walled city of Dubrovnik is one of Europe's jewels, a charming port with a beautifully preserved old town of ancient stone buildings and red tile rooftops. Montenegro's Kotor is a treasure of the Adriatic, with narrow streets leading to old palaces, the 12th century Cathedral of St. Tryphon and the picturesque main square. A distinctive Venetian influence can be felt on the Greek Isle of Corfu, with its scenic old town, 15th century fortress, and tree-lined esplanade. From Katakolon, immerse yourself in the history of ancient Greece, at the site of the first Olympic Games at Mount Kronos, and the dramatic ruins of the ancient temples of Olympia. In beautiful Athens, enjoy an overnight stay so you'll have time to immerse yourself in the capital of ancient Greece itself, the birthplace of democracy and once the very center of the Greek Empire. Like many of the Greek isles, Crete is graced with the imprints of the ages. Enjoy its Venetian influences or delve into its Minoan civilization. On the Greek island of Rhodes, you'll pass through one of 11 imposing gates to discover the Old City, Europe's largest active medieval town and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. In Turkey, fabled Ephesus offers a stunning window into the past, with remarkable architectural treasures, including the iconic Library of Celsus. While ancient Troy, once thought to exist only in mythology, boasts traces of as many as 9 different cities on the site. Your voyage concludes in fascinating Istanbul, where East meets West, and hidden treasures stand witness to the influences of countless ages and cultures.